my Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love. I'm in Toronto.
Welcome to episode 1637 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees. From Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Building Toronto Skyline. A podcast and book from Nick Iones. Sponsored by Fusion Corp Construction Management Inc. And Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, returning to Toronto Mic'd, is Mike Stafford.
Beautiful, man. That's better than anything on WKRP.
That's right. They had the jingle, right? For what was the name of that funeral home again?
Oh, God.
Oh, it'll come to us.
I just gave you Red
Ferryman's.
Yes, Ferryman's Funeral Home. I'm thinking of Red Wigglers as well.
Well, geez. Mike Stafford, let me just say, good to see you again.
And you as well, my friend. This is episode number 4 for me. 5, 6.
Actually, I think it's interesting you bring that up. So I said, okay, I need to let the first-time listeners know there's an ongoing history of Mike Stafford at play here. Oh, shit, I said that. Now I owe Chorus some money, I think, if I say ongoing history of anything. But okay, we'll talk about that in a moment. But your first visit was March 2015, which was almost exactly 10 years ago. Insane.
That was, I'd worked the Oakley show that morning until 10 o'clock and came over here. That was that brutally cold winter. And that was the first day. It was, what'd you say, March?
March 2015.
It was the first day since, I think, Christmas, we had gone over 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Anyway,
so you're still doing Fahrenheit. Is this because you went to, when you were going to school, it was Fahrenheit? Because my brain can't do Fahrenheit because when I was going to school, it was all Celsius.
Yeah.
But that's like...
I'm preparing for the inevitable. I'm preparing for the return to imperial measure. Not even imperial measure, Michael. Washington measure.
We'll get to that too, because I have Mike Stafford in the basement. You're pretty much my prisoner down here, and we're gonna do a thorough catch up. I'll set the table later, but we're gonna find out how you're doing. You know what? Crack open your Great Lakes beer right now.
This is a new one from GLB.
They have a few different lagers. That's the Vienna lager, and that's Bob Ouellette's favorite beer here.
Bingo. What does Toast stand for?
No, Toast was okay. So we had Pandemic Friday, which was Cam Gordon, Stu Stone. Stu Stone's my guest later this week. Cam Gordon, Stu Stone, and I did Pandemic Friday every Friday during the pandemic. And then at some point we had a farewell to, we didn't say farewell to the pandemic, but we said farewell to Pandemic Fridays with a huge gathering, a TMLX event at Great Lakes Brewery. And then Stu went off to make Dark Side of the Ring and movies, and Cam I think he went to the Big Red Machine, and now he's somewhere else. But basically, Toast was we brought back Pandemic Fridays as a monthly, and Toast was the name I came up with because I thought, okay, when you had the origins of hip-hop, you had a DJ, and then you had somebody who was toasting the crowd, right? Like the MC.
Toaster, yeah.
Right. So there's that toast, and then I thought, I
used to toast with Two Live Crew back in
as nasty as they want to be,
yeah.
If I remember correctly. Luke Skywalker, that was his moniker, I think.
Now you owe money.
So does he. He. Okay.
This is true.
So March 2015, 10 years ago, episode 113, and we talked about your days at CFNY, CFRB, and 640, getting high before your Jeopardy appearance.
Oh, and the Freddie thing.
And I, for better or worse, I did ask you about firing Fred Patterson.
Well, that's kind of why I sort of came in to give my side of the story for you. But yeah, that was, I cannot believe that was March of 2015.
10 years ago, my friend.
2017 September was my next one.
You know what? You nailed it. That was episode 265, and we kicked out the jams.
Yeah, we had some fun with the jams.
and that was your second appearance. And how is that Vienna lager, by the way?
This is really good. This is really full for a lager, because I'm not much of an ale guy. It bugs my stomach. This has got a really nice full taste for a lager. I like.
The regular premium lager, also very popular from GLB. We have a couple of cold ones on the table. Should you require them?
Beautiful.
And let me know. You're bringing some home with you today, thanks to Great Lakes.
I'm here for the GLB and of course for the lasagna.
So I told Anthony Petrucci at Palma Pasta that Mike Stafford was coming by, and absolutely he's ecstatic. You're going to get another Palma Pasta lasagna. Delicious, right?
Delicious.
All right, delicious. What else? Okay, so those were the 2 episodes, and then again, I think we talked about this at some point, but you sort of turned on me, right? Like you soured on Toronto Mike at some point after that episode.
Yeah,
265.
it was something to do with Lou Skeezes or something stupid.
Yeah, Lou Skeezes was fired. Okay. So in my description for your next appearance, so you come back in May 2023, and that was episode 1250, and we caught up, and basically we talked about your broken neck.
Yes.
How is your neck?
It's still broken. It's yeah.
Like, what is it? Like, how is your... Here, I'm just turning the mic.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm just wondering, how is your mobility? I saw you using a cane earlier.
Yeah.
Like, is that related to the neck, or is that your...
That's right now it's my back. It's the middle of my back. It's like the muscles have no attachment to anything. So any sharp movement... I mean, I just took the 107 freaking Islington bus. That thing should be burned in effigy like at Burning Man. And kill all the pigeons that have taken over that.
Yeah.
Have you been in that station?
Sure, of course. It's my home
Holy
station.
Jeez. When did that happen? I'm looking for Hitchcock doing a cameo. This isn't the Islington station I remember when I used to go get drunk at the office. And
Oh, yeah. I know. I went to the original location of Michael Power, which was right there. Where Dundas and Islington,
Yep.
across from the police station there on Bloor Street or whatever. Okay, so your neck is not going to get any better?
No, the neck has got screws, and I'm waiting to just for my own psyche when I ever fly again, what it's going to be like getting through security, because I've got all this metal in my, from the top of my neck down to my shoulder blades.
They're going to spend a little extra time with you.
Yeah, I guess I got to bring a doctor's note, but yeah, that's the state of my physical.
Jeez. And we talked about why you had to delete your Twitter account.
Yes.
You were ahead of the game as far as I'm concerned. Like, you were just progressive. Like, you were just ahead of the reasonable masses who should all be deleting their Twitter account. Okay. We talked in great detail about why you were fired from AM 640. Yeah. So if people want that in all its gory detail, it's episode 1250. But then we did catch up, and we did address, and this is what we were alluding to earlier, the turd in the basement comment.
Yeah.
So basically, in a nutshell, Lou Skeezes was fired by, I guess he used to do he would do spots on 640.
It was Happy Capitalism.
Of course, Happy Capitalism. And he came over and we talked about it. And I asked him one question. You only came up once. And I just said, have you heard from Mike Stafford since you were fired? And he said one word. He said, no. And then I moved on. But this irked you.
Yeah, it ripped me because, again, I got it through secondhand, as often happens. And then you go give it a listen and you realize it wasn't as bad.
No, I didn't dwell on it. I didn't even pick it up.
No, but
I
I'd
was
already opened
curious.
my big fat mouth. But I mean, it was the same thing I explained with Freddie, too. I got pissed off at Freddie for something he'd written. And, especially with all the crap that has happened since then and then and then and then, and even Lou, it's like, it just doesn't fucking matter, man. This crap. It just doesn't matter. And that's why, it's been very, very difficult to be stuck at home, not able to participate in some of the discourse to try to, I don't know if it needs more discourse because there's so much discourse out there, but my God, what a world we're living in.
Well, we're going to touch on a lot of this because we'll do a catch up and then I will ask you some of the questions. I often wonder, what does Stafford think about this? But I need to crack open a GLB. I'm going to crack open Burst, which is an IPA I enjoy from Great Lakes.
You got some citrus in there?
No, that's more, the Octopus Wants to Fight has a lot of citrus in here.
Oh, yes.
This is a good one. And then, so I can get out of your way because people hear enough of my voice and they're very much missing your voice, and I'll set the table with that in a moment. But November 2023. Mm-hmm. So you're here in May. 6 months later, you come back and we talk about what happened since episode 1250. And we touched on the fact that when you appeared in May 2023, Lorne Honickman was listening to your appearance.
Yes.
Lauren, dear friend of the program, I used to produce his podcast. And Lauren Honickman helped you get a lawyer who works on contingency. Is that right?
Yeah. So you're not paying up front.
Which is what you needed.
Yeah.
And under the wire, you were able to file some kind of some suit in pursuit of severance from Chorus?
Yeah, it was a statement of claim. You have 2 years from your date of termination in employment law, 2 years to file a statement of claim. And that's all you have to do is by that magic date, which would have been June 9th of 2023. I had 2 weeks to go, and it was Lauren who heard me with you and called me and said, you got to give my buddy a call. He introduced us, and that's all up in the air. I can't talk about stuff like that, but...
So you can't get into specifics, but
no,
can you say it's ongoing?
It's ongoing. It's ongoing, but have you looked at the stock price?
Well, the trick is to get it done before they declare bankruptcy or something. And
I've just finished watching, streaming 2 weeks of Succession, and I'm thinking, holy shit, if half this stuff happens in the corporate world. But yeah, of course, I started there at $34 a share. Fred Patterson was the one who said, oh man, you got to buy because they'll give you a free share with every 3 purchased.
Right.
And he and Humble had a crap load of them. And I thought, I should do it. But being me, I never got around to it. Now it's at 10 cents. But
I wonder when they sold. Like, I wonder when Humble and Fred sold. I'm just wondering aloud.
I don't know. I would assume when they left for the mix.
Well, then they were lucky when they.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everybody. But then again, look at Bell stock. Look at Rogers stock. It's not just everyone's been dumping on Chorus. No, this is a contagion that has spread across the industry.
So we can't. It sounds like for your lawyer doesn't want you giving any specifics, except this is ongoing. So
shit's been filed. Shit's been filed.
But why does it take? I don't even know what you can say. I'll just ask the question.
I have been told that the other party is taking a leisurely time.
But that's ridiculous. If we consider this all started.
Well, yeah, when I've been evicted, and and it doesn't mean the money's automatically mine. It has to be decided in court.
Right.
But time is of the essence here.
So did you say evicted? Okay, maybe I'll get out of the way now. So that's basically all those episodes are where you go to hear more Stafford. 113, 265, 1250, 1373. This here is 1637. I think this came to be because I get more emails about you than anything. People now consider me the Stafford whisperer.
I appreciate that because I started around Christmas getting emails from people saying, hey, I hope you don't mind, Toronto Mike gave me your email address.
Right.
And then you emailed me and you said, I'm getting a lot of emails about you. And I'm going, what's wrong with people?
People care about you.
And I contacted you and said, okay, well, yeah, we got to do something, I guess. And
we got to update the staff heads here. So
update it, yeah.
Why don't I get out of the way? And please, and again, I'll pepper in with questions because I'm a curious cat, but tell us, how has life been since your last visit, November 2023, and what's going on with Mike Stafford?
Okay. We had to leave a house that we were in, that we were renting. It was just getting the money together. You just don't realize how expensive life is until the money's not there. And Jody, and I want to, respect Jody's privacy in a lot of issues, but Jody had been diagnosed with renal cell cancer the last time I saw you in November of 23.
Yep.
And the next month after I talked to you, she had the tumor removed very successfully at Credit Valley. Great people.
Good.
She had follow-up. A couple of follow-ups. And our situation between her and I was not a good one. I don't want to get into it. It's not fair to her. It was just not a very good situation to be in. And having this thrown her way didn't help much. But it turned out the cancer is a stage 4. It has metastasized from her kidney to her bone.
Well, I'm sorry to hear this.
Yeah. She has a scan next month. I saw her a couple of weeks ago at Credit Valley. I made a trip out there. She's not living in the city. She's got an arrangement with community health and stuff, and she's taken care of and all that stuff. But I saw her. She looked good. I told her, I said, I am amazed at how good you look. She says, I don't have an ass. I said, well, you never had an ass when I married you.
Well, you were her ass.
Yeah. So she she's got some good support. It's quite a kick in the teeth, obviously. But she looked good 3 weeks ago. I got to say that. I'll see her again in a few weeks.
Well, we're all hoping for the best for Jody. And I'm sorry that, and again, I'm on my second marriage, so I know what it's like, but it doesn't always work out.
Stressors, money is the number one thing in any relationship, I would say, outside of maybe cheating, stuff like that. But it's been interesting. 2024 was not, missed when it left us on New Year's Eve. But and there's a whole month, and then I've lost a bunch of other good friends at work. It's been a tough year.
Well, we're going to touch on all that, but you used the word evicted.
Yeah.
So you used to talk about no credit.
Yeah.
So I take it you were renting that place.
We had a place there we were in for 10 years that the owner sold, and it has since been rebuilt. So we were very lucky to find a shorter term lease on the same road with a guy. But it was only a short lease, and as it was coming up, because he wanted to do a tear down as well, we had nowhere to go, and I had no money, and it just basically became, one of those horror stories you hate to read about.
Well, I always wonder what happens when you have nowhere to go with no money. Like, where are you living now?
I'm living in Toronto. I'm living in with my sister.
Okay. What? So, thankfully, you have a family member who could help you out. But for all those people out there who don't have a sister they can move in with, what do they do? I got neighbors right now. There's an episode on Monday with a guy named Bruce Davis. And basically, this episode is to discuss a proposed shelter at Lakeshore and 6th Street in New Toronto. And you would be surprised at the neighbors of mine who are like rallying, basically NIMBYing this thing before they have all the facts. But perhaps that's why these shelters are necessary in the
What is this, like a storefront shelter they're talking about?
Well, they haven't built it yet. It won't open until like 2028 or something like that. But it's for families, and there's to support families, I guess.
Well, I've been through this area often when I drove to work here. I'm trying to think of what's that 6th.
Well, it's a parking lot right now.
It is, yeah.
So they're going to build it. They're going to build a shelter. It's apparently been approved. So literally this episode of Bruce Davis, who's not a politician, but he's been assigned to, handle consultations with the neighborhood before this thing is built and opened up. And I guess it's going to be about doing math here, but we're years away from this thing opening. But I have, as you can imagine, I have a lot of questions. And Bruce will be in this basement on Monday to discuss this. But I'm just thinking, what do you do if you're in your situation, you and Jody, and you have no money coming in? You're evicted from your apartment. You can't afford to give first and last month's rent on something new, and you don't have the support you're getting from your sister right now.
Yeah, you basically get caught up in the short-term rental game, whether it was Airbnb or last time I talked to you in November of that year, we were in a motel on Dundas in Mississauga.
Right, I remember now. Right.
And they were housing people through Peel Supports. But if you weren't getting it through Peel Supports, they were charging $170 a night.
It's untenable, right?
This is for a shithole.
Right.
Drug den.
Right.
And prostitution den at Dundas and East of Dixie. And the cops know about it. They were there. We got to be friends with everybody. But they're still charging $100. They're just, it's like the short-term loan business. The money marts and stuff like that.
Right.
It has given me an appreciation for just how fucking close everybody could be. God forbid that it doesn't happen. But if it does, if everything comes together in the wrong way, unless you've got that support, that's why, they talk about burning bridges at work and stuff like that. And I apologize for the F words today.
You can swear on this.
I just took the TTC. That's what does it to you.
We're fuck friendly on Toronto Mike.
Yeah, I forget what I was going there.
No, but it sounds like a precarious situation.
Yeah. And
but for your sister, maybe you're in one of these shelters that my neighbors are rallying
completely.
against.
Completely. I'd have to find a way, being given my age and things like that, I would probably have an easier time. But I don't think there's ever you could ever use the word easy when it comes to how finding housing. And
because after again, to recap, but I'm getting angry on your behalf here. But you were at Chorus for decades, and then when they fired you, they didn't give you a penny to go away. They just said, just go away.
No, even though two of my bosses above me, it doesn't matter if I say it now. I don't think either of them are working there anymore. Begged HR, you've got to give him something.
Yeah.
You've got to give him something. But this was the start. I mean, people go, okay, you used the slur, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. It was money too. It was money, which makes me cry when I think of someone like Kelly Cutrera. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. You're a huge fan.
Big fan of Kelly's.
And when I read that, because Kelly would annoy the hell out of me talking to me. I want to know how you come up with ideas. And she was such a sweetheart because she was a music chick. And she thought I was the talk guy. And she did very well on her own in the talk thing. But when I read that, and Tina, I was ready to go to war. Wow. When they let Tina go. I mean, Tina's been there longer than me.
Right. Tina Trujani.
Yeah. And this is just shortly before I left, they had a pretty damn good newsroom after CFRB blew theirs up. They had, they had reporters in the morning. They had Sandy Salerno. Now yesterday, Dave Bradley, their morning news guy, did an 11-hour shift.
Well, he's all they got, right?
He and Danny Longo in the afternoon, who I assume was off on a Friday.
Right. Wow.
But that's no way to run like a Sarnia radio station. They say, and no one gives a shit. And that's the problem. No one gives a shit. When you've got the head of Bell Media saying, you know what? This isn't a viable business, what we're in right now. It's Logan Roy. So we're going to fuck off.
So, Cora, you mentioned the share price. Chorus, it's no secret. Close. I don't know how close they were, but there were rumors they might have to declare bankruptcy. But they've been cutting costs across the country for a while now. I mean, Alan Carter. I'm trying to think. Farah Nasser. I mean, you name it. These Kelly Cutrera, who I do adore.
Yep.
I saw her in December, and she was in good spirits. She was going out of town with girlfriends to kind of
Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly to
good.
drink wine and sort of lick the wounds or whatever. But she'll be back, and she even promised she'll drop by this basement and talk about everything.
That would be great to hear. I'm definitely, that's a listen. It was lovely, by the way, to scroll as I do to see who's on Toronto Mike every day. And there's my sweetheart. There's my darling Heather Purdon.
Yes.
There's a picture of mine and some asshole, Brad somebody. Now, Brad's a good guy too, but
Brad hired Heather.
And Heather, thank God she had a life vest thrown her way. Same with Chris Creston. He's working for the city up in Markham now.
No, yeah, absolutely. Now, glad you mentioned Heather Purdon because when I met her, because she came over with Brad Bradford, and Brad's a good FOTM.
You got the picture of her out front.
Absolutely, and I was really excited. I mean, Brad Bradford, whatever. Like I saw he was at TMLX, whatever it was, 17. I can't keep track of him anymore, but he was at Palma's Kitchen there, and it's always Brad's a good FOTM, and he loves Toronto Mike. Then he comes to the events. But I was so excited to meet Heather because I've been corresponding with that woman for years.
Yep.
And I've never met her. And there she is. And yeah, she seemed happy. Brad loved working with her, and she escaped. Like she got out. Right?
Yeah.
Like, there is no future for a radio professional.
No, and I used to joke when the kids would come through from Humber every year to do their tour, and I'd be sitting on air in my booth screaming at them in the hallway, "There's no jobs! Go away! There's no jobs!" And they'd have fun with it on the Sony board and stuff like that, and didn't I turn out?
We'll get back to that. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be radio professionals.
It's too bad.
No, it's too bad. I grew up, I never attempted in my life, even for a minute. I never even dreamed of being on radio or tried to get on radio, but I loved listening to radio. There was nothing better. Yeah.
Me too, whether it was 1976, listening to the U.S. election results in Lexington, Kentucky on, getting that nighttime skip in the ionosphere.
Wow.
I just loved that kind of radio shit, but, oh man.
And remind me, was your first gig CFNY? What was your first gig?
First gig was CHIC, which was CFNY's AM brother-sister station.
Was May Potts there?
No.
Was Fred Patterson there?
Freddie P. and I did morning news with Pete and Geets. I started in 79. I was at Ryerson, and between first and second year, I got a job at CHIC 790 Disco for the summer.
Okay.
And that was when it was in receivership. The Civitas Corporation in Montreal bought them, and they called me and said, come back. We want you to do full-time. I got to finish my degree. Fuck the degree. It doesn't mean a thing. It doesn't mean a thing.
Right.
So I did come back, and I started full-time February 1980.
80.
At CHIC 790 Disco.
Right.
And then they put Fred and I together on the Pete and Geets show. I did news. He did sports for 7 years.
Did you hear, it was fairly recently, but like time is like a blur to me now, but it was late 2024, I suppose, when David Marsden popped by. Did you hear the recent David Marsden?
I listened. He said I should be a news director.
Yeah. Well, he's a big, as you can
he's
imagine.
a huge guy.
So you worked with David Marsden. So who left first, you or Marsden?
I did, barely.
Okay.
I left in, well, I think I even mentioned what the bullshit they pulled with, they wanted rid of Pete and Geets because they were getting no growth. The bits weren't getting refreshed. And they'd actually hired someone. And they came to me and said, look, here's the deal, Mike. We going to offer you two options. Either you stay on the air doing your newscasts, but we got a new guy who's taking over. Or you give up your on-air and become a full-time producer for Pete and Geets, writing them bits, helping them write bits and stuff like that. I didn't want to lose Pete and Geets. The poor fucker who got screwed out of that, I'll tell you off-air who it was. It's Ted Wallachin.
I was going to guess Ted Wallachin.
It's no secret. I mean, Ted's been through this. Yeah, and I wanted to stay with my guys, right? And it turned in, and I don't blame them. Some 26-year-old kid is now telling these veterans, no, guys, you can't do that bit anymore. It's not funny anymore. Let's try this bit. So that lasted 2-3 months, and then I left, and then I think David left end of 87?
Sounds about right, 87.
I think Don took over.
Right.
And then shit happened that I still laugh about.
Yeah, well, they went, I'm trying to get this right, Kingsbury? I think it was Kingsbury.
It was Jim Fonger, who was a sales guy in Kingsbury, and then the Madonna shit started, and it's like, what?
Right.
Even Fred says, you know what, I like that station, even when we played Madonna.
Well, Fred and I have had this discussion because it's like, oh my God, what happened there? But Fred's like, he wanted it to be more broader because he felt that would be more ears and more listeners, which would mean higher salaries and higher ratings.
You can't make money from a cult radio station. I used to say that. It's nice to be part of this cult, but, it's self-defeating. No, we don't want it to get any more popular. But I've seen the same shit. I remember when Ms. Vicky's was that independent kettle chip company?
Of course.
And then Lay's bought them?
Right.
Fuck Ms. Vicky. Like, what did they do wrong? They did what everyone wants to do in business.
Right. They cashed out. So I'm wondering, I know I probably asked you this last time, but it's been a while since you were here, but I've had many a conversation with the Ivor Hamiltons, the Scott Turners, the Alan Crosses about the CFNY documentary. Did anybody reach out to you to participate in the CFNY doc?
Yeah.
Did you participate?
No, I did not. No, I'd been let go. Yeah. And it just wasn't in my makeup to want to go out and talk, remember when.
But you didn't want to be, warm, fuzzy nostalgia.
Yeah, Tony Soprano called it the lowest form of conversation.
Right.
Remember when. So, actually, Scott Turner reached out a couple of times.
He's a good egg, that Scott Turner.
But then I hear it's been delayed again.
Oh, yeah, so, I mean, it depends who you talk to, because I actually wrote about, because Ivor Hamilton shared that it's on hold. And he's wondering, it gets in Scotland or whatever. So I kind of wrote about this. And then the director of the doc got back to me and said, that's not true at all. Like, I'm actively searching for a distributor and it's not on hold at all. So I guess it depends who you talk to. I actually wonder, again, this is pure speculation. Lauren Honickman wants me to make this clear. I know nothing. But I'm wondering if it's these executive producers simply don't like the documentary.
Oh, that's a good point you bring up, Michael.
Because they're, you know what it's like. You were in that cult, you called it, but if you're in part of the Spirit of Radio cult of CFNY, you have somebody else driving the bus. Maybe they miss some of the nuances that made it such a special place.
If I can imitate David Marsden, I think you're right, Michael.
That's pretty good.
I think you're onto something here, because it's a legacy that people own, their own legacy. And wait a second. Did you ever see 24-Hour Party People?
Of course.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
When Howard Devoto is the janitor and the Howard Devoto in the movie is fucking the girl in the bath. And then she comes out and he goes, I don't remember this happening. That's what a lot of that is like with CFNY.
Right. So part of me wonders if maybe there's a disconnect now between the director, a Scottish-based guy who made it. And I know because I got a nice email from him when he was on a train to interview Geets Romo. And he's let me know he's listening to Geets Romo in the basement here talking to me about on Toronto Mike. And he said it was the greatest research ever. So,
that's nice of him.
So we'll see if I show up in the credits.
But they better hurry up because all these new wave guys are dying. Like the drummer from the Jam just died.
Yeah.
Like they're all dying, guys. Get this thing out.
Get this out. Because, and I was going to ask you about this too, the SCTV documentary that was, but whatever, that reunion that was filmed by Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, my buddy Patrick from work was there at Patrick Malkin. He was it at
Winter Garden
Theater? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, according to people like Dave Thomas, who I've talked to, that thing's never coming out. Like Scorsese just shelved it and left it. Yeah. And I've talked to several people now who were there. Well, one person who was there did say it wasn't that good.
It wasn't that good.
But everyone, I've talked to many other people who told me it was fantastic.
Really?
So, and I wasn't there.
I can't remember what Patrick said. I think he said it was okay.
Call him right now.
Call him now. I don't know if I'd even want to. I'd give it 15
Well, the thing
minutes.
is, but you mentioned losing people. That's why I brought it up because Joe Flaherty's gone.
I know.
So it's like the longer you wait, like we're losing these people that were at this reunion. It just gets awkward.
Well, I'd be interested to see it when it comes out, if it comes out. But then again, people hear about me and CFNY. I was a very different situation. I was a news guy there.
But you were a part of the Pete and Geek show.
I guess I was, and I don't accept that in my own. But I guess, yeah, Pete, Fred and I were a couple of clowns who happened to do the news. But musically,
yeah,
it's like I have no interest to know who your favorite bands were. Which is fair. But I mean, we kicked out some cool jams.
Well, we kicked out some cool jams. I did see somebody put it on YouTube, the television, the Pete and Geets TV thing that was filmed.
Oh, did you see that?
Yeah.
Where I opened
and you
it?
had a suit. I can't remember, but you guys, you can speak to this, but somebody did upload this to YouTube, and I definitely watched it. It was like a Pete and Geets. I don't know if it was for Cable 10.
I'll tell you, I'm just reading this hop.
Oh, that's a hop. So that has no alcohol. So do you want alcohol? Put that aside. Yeah. So
put it aside. Can I throw it somewhere? There we go.
That's not for Stafford, okay? That's because you believe it or not, the odd person comes by in recovery, and I got to give him some GLB with no alcohol. So that's the hop up, which is very good, but it's not a beer.
It's recovery week on Wheel of Fortune.
But I did see the TV, the Pete and Geets.
Yeah, that was. I was working at Cable 10 Mississauga, Wolfdale Road, which then was. Rogers and McLean Hunters before Rogers bought McLean Hunter.
Right.
So they ran it together. And it was on Wolfdale, just near the derailment site. And I was doing a show called City Invest, whatever. It was a city show. It was crap. It aired every Tuesday.
Right.
And somehow we'd go for beers afterwards. And the producer of the show said, man, we all love Pete and Geets. Would we do like a simulcast or something? I said, well, I'll talk to them about it. I talked to Geets. I says, is it doable? He says, yeah. Pete, would you want it? Pete would do anything. Kevin was up for it.
Right.
Freddie was up for it. And it's a shame. I'd love to see the whole thing. But there is, it's on YouTube.
I saw it fairly recently.
Yeah.
Somebody uploaded it.
I think somebody posted it through Sony or something like that. But yeah, that was April 30th, 1986.
And that name you dropped. Okay, so, as you know, Today I produce the Humble and Fred show, so I talk to these guys a lot. But the name you dropped, Kevin. So this is Kevin O'Leary, right? But not the MAGA Kevin O'Leary.
Asshole, no.
I have no idea if this person is MAGA or not. But this is the Kevin O'Leary who produced the Pete and Geets show.
Yeah, Kevin was the technical producer, the heartbeat, if you will, of the show.
Have you had any contact with Kevin O'Leary recently?
Zero. Kevin's one of those guys who he absolutely took over my 1980s until I left in 87. And then he went and did his thing, and I went and did my thing. He got into the CBC for a while, worked there for years. And it's just one of those things where, like, you know what? There's no need or urge to get back together. So, I mean, they had a CFNY reunion, I think, in 2003 that I missed.
Right.
And it was a shame because I went to New Orleans. I had a new relationship, and a new relationship in New Orleans.
Say
I'm
no
sorry.
more.
It beats a night down.
They did make a CD about that night because
they did?
Steve McAuliffe?
Steve McCauley,
Yes, Steve McCauley.
sales guy. Yeah.
He knew I was a big fan of the station and got me a copy of the CD that they put together of like greatest hits, if you will, clips basically from CFNY in the Spirit of Radio days.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very
I know.
cool.
And I know David Marsden's website is now running Pete and Geet's clips.
Yes.
If you don't mind the cross promotion.
No, I don't. He's a good FOTM like you. So nythespirit.com is where you can go. And I know Ivor's got a show on that on that station, et cetera. Okay. So we mentioned Kevin O'Leary, who I've never met, but I hear about him from Fred Patterson. So I do, Mike, want to ask you, and I don't know, life is short. We're all getting older. Is there any way we can patch up this Mike Stafford, Fred Patterson relationship that has dissolved?
Yeah, I've had kind of other things on my schedule the past few years with the stuff that was happening, and I don't know.
Do you have any interest in it? I mean, it would take two to tango here.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, if you want to lay the cards on the table, and I don't give a fuck, as Logan Roy would say, it's humble. It's not Fred. It's humble. And I don't know what I did, what I've ever said. I worked with the guy. Oh, you've got some.
No, but here now. So, but you're okay. So there's two things here. I do know there's a lack of love from Humble to Mike Stafford. Okay, but I do know back in the day, before I knew any of you guys personally, there was a lot of love between Fred Patterson and Mike Stafford.
Huge.
Like I hear stories from you knew Fred's mom, and it's just you guys were
We
tight.
grew up together.
Thick as thieves.
We were thick as thieves. We'd finish our morning show, and we went to the gym that my mom managed in Brampton, and work out. And I never had that relationship with Humble, but I've noticed some of the nastiest reaction I've ever had to talking to you.
Yeah.
The Humble and Fred people. Who are these people, and why do they dislike me?
See, I don't know anything about this. I can't imagine they would. I mean, I feel like Humble and Fred people would have also been Stafford talk radio, especially on Mojo Radio and 640. They would be fans of yours, I would think. Like, put Humble aside. So let's take Humble and put him aside, okay? I actually got a call from Humble this morning, so shit out to Humble Howard. But move him aside.
Call him now.
I know.
I'll give you a beer.
I don't know if I know CRTC has no ruling on this podcast, but who knows what would come out of that. But so if we put him aside. What I was interested in is like a personal connection between you and Fred. Maybe you said stuff that you didn't mean. Maybe because I know you fired him as your best man.
Oh, I totally did. I mean, again, that was a very brief. And then when I came back and did the first episode with you, and I talked about what happened with Fred, and then I made the mistake of listening to Humble and Fred's reaction.
Well, that upset it. I wasn't the producer back then, but I did send them the clip, and I saw it as a heartwarming thing because you said some, and I thought it would be a heartwarming moment. And yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
They were
because
screaming Malacca.
Howard, I think, played a sound clip that said maybe macaque.
Was it? I thought it was the Greek swear word.
I thought it was the monkey macaque, because they found that to be an amusing name. But regardless, he made it kind of a jokey moment, and my intent there was it would be a real heartfelt, sensitive moment.
Yeah.
But so we were putting Howard aside because I don't know what happened between you and Howard.
I don't either.
But you and Fred, I'm just wondering if there is time, if there is desire at all, any interest in patching up your relationship.
Yeah, I mean, time is short. Junie's gone. His dad's gone. God, I can't remember. It was Dougie, I believe.
No, I don't think so. You know what? I should know Fred, but I didn't know. I knew Fred's mom. I met her
Junie,
many times, but I didn't know Fred's dad. I'm trying to remember.
He introduced me to pineapple. Dickie.
Yeah, close enough.
He introduced me to pineapple in chili. It was delicious.
Yeah.
They're gone. My mom and dad are gone. I've got a marriage that has ended terribly, a career that has ended terribly. He's doing okay. Mm-hmm. And this is a bit of an actual, we can pretend that we actually, rehearsed this. he's done very well with the podcast. He and you have a lot of credit as well to that. And I know others, some, unicorn people. But I cannot fucking take one more email from someone insisting that I should start a podcast tomorrow. Michael, can you help me here? As someone who has dipped his toes into this holy water known as podcasting.
Right.
It's just not something you fucking throw together in an afternoon.
Well, I got an email today from a fan of yours. I think he's in Peterborough. William Trudeau is his name.
Yes, I know Bill.
So Bill Trudeau. And I'm going to read it. It's really going to piss you off, but you got the GLB there for support, okay? So William Trudeau wrote me, I'd like to know, and I'm hoping you'll speak to this, Mike, okay? But I'd like to know if he's motivated to get out of his depressed rut and try and enter the world of podcasting. I'd be interested in sponsoring him, but I'm not going to donate money toward a depressed, bed-dwelling, pot-smoking, beer-drinking, Brian Wilson Beach Boys type. So I'm reading that verbatim, okay? I don't co-sign this, okay?
It's very well done, Bill. Thank you. I like that.
So which part do you want to address first?
Lying in bed like Brian Wilson did?
Shout out to Stephen Page.
No, William has emailed me a few times. He also kicked in a few bucks, which I appreciate.
I hate to do this because I want to get that William story, but part of the reason you're getting people writing you to say Toronto Mike gave me your email is because when you were on Toronto Mike last time, you gave out an email address so people could help support you financially. But since then, that email address has been discontinued.
Well, yeah, it was a Bell address and I lost my Bell account.
So what you need to do right now, if anybody wants to kick a few bucks your way to help you through this rough patch, can you give an address they can send money to?
Yeah, I hate doing this. It's Mike Merton. That's one word, Mike Merton, because that's where I used to live,
Spell it.
Merton, Mike, Mike, Merton, at iCloud.com.
Okay, Mike Merton at iCloud.com. Mike is like our name because we have the same name. Mike. Merton is Merton at iCloud.com. Got that right?
And Mike's going to put it up on the header on the website, so you don't have to listen.
Telethon now.
26 minutes into the. But yeah, the William thing with the podcasts. And
42 minutes in, so even worse.
Oh, there you go. But I don't. It's kind of being sharp there with the guy, but he is one of the ones who you got to do a podcast, man. People miss your voice. A couple of
people miss your voice.
Yeah, and there's a neighbor in my building. And we've talked a few times when I've been out for a smoke with her. And, you got to get back on a podcast, get a podcast. I said, do you know what the equipment is that's required? Never mind the equipment, the bandwidth, the sponsors. The fact is, if you didn't get in, it's like a pyramid scheme. I'm not saying.
No, I know. I
if
hear what
you
you're
didn't
saying.
get in early enough.
See, I don't know. I often think about this. I go on these bike rides and I think about everything, okay, Mike? But sometimes I think, if I were going to start Toronto Mike today, would you have any listeners beyond your buddies or your family or something? And would you be giving your guests Great Lakes beer and Palma pasta and a Ridley funeral home measuring tape, Mike?
Yeah, it's my dick tape.
That's your dick tape.
Yeah, the last one.
Let me know
what
you're up to now. How did that surgery go?
Not bad, actually.
Doubled in size. It's now 2 inches. Yep. That's pretty good, man.
Netflix
pretty good.
Next May.
Oh God. So I don't know. So that's a good point there. But you're ace in the hole, if you will. Is that
one of the reasons
Stafford.
When we talked on email the past couple of days, and I was talking to my sister Lisa about it. God love her. She's been so good with me. I said, Lisa, I just want to get out and talk to somebody. I'm not denigrating you, my friend.
No, you did say don't record this. So just
I just want to get out and talk to somebody about shit, which I used to do.
Which we're about
to
get to, but do you have a social life? Like, do you go to a pub and hang out with buds or whatever?
No. There's just nobody in the area and the age, and quite frankly, I mean, it's one of the things when you leave a place is it's tough for about a year and people, we miss you. But then you move on with your life, right? Yeah. You found it, I'm sure, when you used to, did you work at 2 Cows?
Never.
Okay.
That's another Toronto mic. And now I got to call Lauren again. There's
my nephew worked at Two Cows.
No, I did know people who worked there. One guy, Joey Davila, whose sister was the what's the title? Minister, the person in charge of health for the city of Toronto, Eileen
Davila.
during this COVID. Yeah, so Eileen Davila's brother worked at Two Cows for many years back. I don't know what that was.
Wonder if he could have done a better job.
All right, so we're going to get to current event stuff because I'm dying to know you're taking a lot of shit. That's
by the way, just one broad statement for me to everybody during COVID: you're all forgiven. Okay, we all fucked up. We all didn't know what we were doing. Right. Can we move on with our lives? Right. Thank you. Yeah, good night.
Glad you did that. But we got to address this William Trudeau thing and the podcasting thing, because I'll just chime in to say two things. If you wanted to podcast, honestly, in 2025, with my free help, you could podcast for I don't know, we could do the whole thing for $150 at this point. So people could just pledge $1, 150 listen. I mean, right. I'm saying it's not going to be a high number because you have an internet connection and you have the voice and you have the content, and the rest we could fill in for very little money, to be honest. And secondly, and I know you have mobility issues and you don't live nearby and everything, but I'm just throwing it out there. And I think I said this to you at some point, but I would literally, for you at this point in your life and what you're going through, and just to put your voice out there for your fans and for my own enjoyment, I would donate production for a Mike Stafford podcast. I would do that pro bono, as they say. I'm throwing this out there.
Well, one thing William mentioned last week, he's been a better program director than a lot of program directors. He said, why don't you do a weekly bit with Mike?
Didn't consult me on that offer.
No, obviously
but I would do that.
I assumed you worked for this gentleman.
No, I got an email. I think he saw, and I put on. We'll get to all this later, but I always post on Blue Sky because that's where I enjoy posting.
Right.
And then sometimes I will copy and paste what I put on Blue Sky and paste it into my X, and then I don't read anything except for DMs and when I'm added, whatever notifications or whatever. Otherwise, I don't read anything on X. So somebody. A beloved media personality, FOTM, wrote me a text yesterday and said, did Mike Richards' show ever launch? Because he came on, made a big announcement, and then nothing happened.
That's right.
And I realized, most of my, unless he was in my basement, most of my updates on Mike Richards was coming from his X account, and I don't read X anymore. And I realized I actually wasn't sure if that thing hadn't launched. A spoiler alert. But bottom line is, there's a lot of info I used to get from X that I just don't get because I refuse to read. But I digress. So William saw that message, and that's how he wrote me this morning.
Oh, okay.
So that's how he found out. So I actually don't know William Trudeau, except he's a big staff head, and I gave him your new email address. But
and he's been, I will say again, he's been kind to me. Thank you,
William. Well, if he threw a few bucks at Mike Stafford, he's A-okay in my books. But
now I'm fucking Brian Wilson in bed.
Yeah. Are you, so a lot of ground to cover on this one wonderful email, but are you a bed-dwelling, pot-smoking, beer-drinking Brian Wilson?
This is the first beer I have had in probably 4 months.
Oh, wow. I feel almost like I should have given you the hot pop.
Oh, totally. No, I don't drink anymore. You know how expensive booze is?
Well, if you come by more often,
oh my God,
I'll take care of that for you.
I do take edibles, pills. What would you call
CBD?
them? Capsules. Okay. Not CBD. No, give me the THC.
Okay.
Give me the THC.
Right.
I do not lay in bed because it hurts to lay in bed.
Oh.
But I do think that God Only Knows is probably the greatest love song ever written.
I love that. Yeah, it's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my William response to the comment about Brian Wilson.
Right. It's who sings that song? It's not Brian Wilson. It's
Mike Love, probably, isn't it?
No, you know what? I think it's one of the other Wilsons.
Do I have a laptop in front of me open like you do right now?
No.
Well, then I would freaking look it up.
I'll look it up when I get you going on the next topic. Can you speak to the fact, can you work? Can you work? Do you have any desire to work? I'm not suggesting there's a lot of radio jobs waiting for you, but I'm just wondering, people often wonder, Stafford, he's got a great voice. What a sharp mind. Why isn't he working?
This drives me crazy, obviously, on a daily basis as well. I used to joke about this when I worked at CFNY, CFRB, or 640. holy Christ, I'm glad this job's working out because I don't have a clue what else I would do. What else could I do?
Right.
I no appreciable skills. Everybody, they immediately go to government. Why? Spin, I guess? You tell me, because you're the voter.
I voted today, by the way.
You did?
Provincially, yeah, obviously. I voted advanced voting between hockey game. I had a game, then I voted, and then I got my kid to a practice, and then now here you are.
Yeah, God bless this guy, by the way, picking me up at Islington and
somewhere, some undisclosed location.
Undisclosed location in Mississauga.
Who knows where I am?
Near the airport.
Jerry
there
Levitan
goes another plane.
was like doxing me. He's a lawyer, and Jerry Levitan interviewed John Lennon when he was 14 years old, and he came over like a week when he's doxing me, and I'm like,
Levitan's doxing you?
yeah, he doxes me, and I said, oh, but that place is several miles away. I'm like winking at him over here. Like, isn't that several miles away? I don't know the crazies out there. But okay, so I'm trying to find out why don't they just give you the freaking answer when you Google stuff anymore? Remember the olden days when you could Google something and there was the answer? But I'm trying
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. Now it's like you got to wade through cesspools and
whoever.
I call it AI slop.
Well, you have to go through who's paid for it first, right?
Yeah, well, it's just ridiculous. So here I am. This is wonderful. Of course, it's written by Brian Wilson and Tony Asher. The producer is Brian Wilson. God only knows song written. Okay, written by. Okay, this is very exciting for the listenership. They're going crazy right now, but whatever. Shout out to Scruff Connors, by the way. That's why I say listenership. The listenership.
Really good listenership.
Fuck. You think this? I gotta wait for you to start talking, and then I'll read through this.
Well, it wouldn't be Wilson. It wouldn't
but
be
wouldn't
Dennis.
it be A. Wilson? Okay.
I'm thinking Mike Love. I don't know. Who was the one that looked pissed off on the cover of Pet Sounds?
Was it Bruce Johnston?
No.
Is he in the mix there? Okay.
I don't know.
Jesus. Okay.
This would be a great version of Jeopardy. They don't know the answers.
Why did you get high again? Remind us. Why did you get high before your Jeopardy appearance?
Because I was in Los Angeles about to tape Jeopardy and I was scared.
Carl Wilson sang lead vocals.
Carl.
God only knows.
Good for him.
So I knew it was a Wilson. Okay. So look, I got it. I'm just happy I figured it out here on the Wikipedia page here. Okay.
But you've lost the connection online.
But back to do the Jeopardy recap.
Yes.
And then we'll get back to how the hell to get you podcasting or whatever. So you were in LA alone. So of course you just, even though you knew you were going to make your Jeopardy.
No, I wasn't in LA alone. I was in LA with one of the hottest women I have ever dated. This was the problem.
Now I understand everything.
My friend, who I took down to the Howard Johnson's on Franklin Avenue in North Hollywood, she accompanied me to my taping day, which was a Tuesday. And they tape twice a week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 5 shows each day from noon till evening. Taped the whole Tuesday, had dinner on the set of Soul Train. And, okay, folks, we've taped 5 shows. See you tomorrow at noon. So this friend of mine, this girlfriend, okay, because she had to sit in the audience. They're very tight with that kind of shit, security.
Right.
I'll see you back at the hotel room. I get out of my cab, I get in the hotel room. There are 14 crew members from Jeopardy in my room smoking dope. She must have caught their attention. One, okay, smoking the dope, that's whatever moral issues you have. 2, the quiz show scandal. Did you not read about that or see the
21.
movie? Yeah. So having half the crew from a game show in your hotel room the night before you tape might catch a few eyes, you know?
And am I remembering correctly? And I think because it was on Kennedy Road, CFNY, but the answer was Kennedy, the question you butchered there. Was it Kennedy?
Again, as Logan Roy, fuck off.
And I remember you telling me like you should have, you worked on Kennedy Road. Like,
it was the Daily Double, the last clue of the show. It was double N. The only U.S. president with a double N in his surname.
Oh, shit. Yeah. What was your guess? Were you blanking? Or
I blanked because I started with Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, John Quincy
Kennedy.
Adams, Jackson.
You're running through the list.
Exactly.
You're missing the obvious.
Yeah, I said Buchanan. But
Right.
I did get Runnymede, which I heard today on the subway. So
There you go. Shout out to Runnymede. Okay. So if I remember correctly, that same episode you did here where Lauren Honickman reached out and got you a
Yep.
lawyer to get chorus, and hopefully that works out well. Come back when that's resolved, okay? So I'll see you in 2029 or whatever. That'll be holy smoke.
he actually, my lawyer did say that to my wife, because we had a phone message last winter, and she said, "How long is this going to take?" He said 2028.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, geez. It's
I
already
know,
been a couple of years.
Yeah, and you stop blaming COVID for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
Well, this has a lot to do with the typhoid fever of 1908.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So I didn't we hear from John Pohl after that episode?
John Pohl emailed me, and he offered some shifts. He does the My FM stuff, right?
He owns a bunch of stations. He's a good FOTM like you and
I think
Lauren.
I worked with him at CFRB and stuff.
So
like
he
that.
offered you some kind of paid work.
He offered me the availability of paid work at the time. Like, this is when we were in between places to live. And again, when you don't have a bed, setting up, where am I going to set up a microphone? And again, I super appreciate it. And I'm going to come across as such a...
No, but here's what I'm wondering now that you... And again, your life is still shitty, Mike. I don't want you to get excited here that things are all good here. But maybe you're in a place now where with a little technical assistance, like setting up a USB mic on a laptop at your sister's place or something, maybe you could now do some voiceover work for John Pohl if he was still interested in having your legendary pipes on his airwaves.
Yeah, I did. Does he want my voice or does he want newscasts?
I don't know, but maybe I'm just saying John will be listening to this episode, so maybe we directly communicate to John Pohl right now and say, if there's any work for Stafford, maybe you weren't in a place to accept work back then, but maybe you're in that place right now.
It was like a nuclear explosion going off. You couldn't predict what was going on. And John's a good man. I'm so glad he's done so well.
Yeah, he's doing very well. And I'm still reeling from this. I haven't drank a beer in 4 months. Is it strictly because of cost, or did you think for health reasons?
No, I didn't want one. I seriously.
Well, that's good, because a lot of people have to have it.
Yeah,
like
after
medicine.
I've had like 3 here.
He's on his 3rd year, everybody. If you're ever, if you're found in a ditch tomorrow, it's 100% my fault. You realize that?
Absolutely, and I will tell you exactly where I was found.
You're like Barney.
Don't cry for me. I'm already dead.
Okay. Finn.
Right. Oh, geez. What a great show.
I still gave it to the guy who got hit with football.
That's right. I have memories. I used to work it was in Mississauga at this office, so I had to drive from Toronto to Mississauga in a car. Before I realized you can actually bike that distance, I was dumb. And I'm in a car and I'm biking and I'm flipping stations, and I discover Stafford's on 640 doing Simpsons trivia, and I am just glued to it, loving it so much. That is there radio now in Toronto where you can hear something like that, or is it all about I don't know, bike lanes and Doug Ford and is there a talk radio?
This is the question, Michael. I was waiting for you to ask.
Well, please talk.
Nah, I'm done. I'm serious, because I've been off air, but I don't want to sound like some bitter old man yelling at clouds.
Like Abe Simpson?
Like Abe. Radio in this market right now sucks. It's, the only contact I have, because quite honestly, I don't listen very much anymore, is that stupid radio board, which will now get a mention. And God love them. I mean, they're good people on there. Some of them can go to hell, but some of them are actual fans who I think are a little too much. But the stuff that I read on a daily basis, like yesterday, talking about Dave Bradley, who I knew before I left 640. Your morning news guy did an 11-hour shift in Toronto, Canada, the 4th largest media market. You had nobody else you could call in. Ben Dixon couldn't do it with his fake mohawk. Seriously, you couldn't get somebody in to, pick up a few newscasts? Because I've been there. And sometimes shit does happen. I remember I did, I think, 6 hours live on CFRB once We had a snow. It might have been during the Mel Gibson. Oh, jeez.
That's a whole different episode.
Remember Mayor Mel Gibson? The Mel Lastman Army.
I think he called you sugar tits.
Yes. I used to call out to Ryan. Jesus.
But why are we so underserved? This is Canada's largest city.
I don't know. It's strictly money. I think we've basically, the entire industry has reached the Peter Principle, which I don't know if you remember from the 70s. It was a business book that was written, and it's a joke, but it's true. Everybody rises in any hierarchy to the level of their own incompetence, meaning you'll get promoted, you get promoted, you get promoted, and then you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
And I think that's what has happened with that industry, TV included.
But is it podcasters who have eaten their lunch?
I don't know if it's podcasting that can be that disruptive.
But
politically, yes.
And put this one aside because I have a little bias here. My beautiful baby Toronto mic'd. But podcasts are audio presentations, and you can hear them on demand and pause them and come back to them.
Yep.
And you
Speed
can
them up
skip
even.
the ads.
Yep.
Like, I always wonder who's listening to talk radio, and then I realize, it's boomers who haven't figured out Bluetooth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they had their kid showed them what Bluetooth can do, that phone you carry everywhere, you can do this, press this button and that, and they would never listen to radio again.
No,
maybe the Sony guys would, but
maybe, yeah. But again, what's their average age?
Well, I loved radio as a kid, but today, there is nothing for. And shout out to the aforementioned Bob Willett, who does a great job on Indie 88. I think he's there right now. And if I do want to hear some music and I'm in the car, 100%, I'm going to throw on Indie 88 and hope I hear Bob's beautiful voice, right?
Okay.
And otherwise, I'm a big CBC radio guy, and I do tune into that periodically. But it's there's nothing for me on radio, and we're missing Mike Stafford. So here, let me shout out the sponsors.
All right.
And you take a time out, and
Thank
then
you.
make sure you come back. Don't run away. I don't think there's any danger of that here. But I would like to say hello and thank you to Nick Iones from Fusion Corp Developments, Inc., because this show you're listening to right now is only fueled by the good people who throw me a few bucks. So I'm not saying throw me the bucks you were going to throw Stafford, okay? Throw Stafford the bucks, but I'm always open for sponsorship opportunities. And Nick, who wrote a great book called Building Toronto's Skyline, and he's got another great book called Battle of the Skyscrapers. Nick Iones is a proud new sponsor of Toronto Mic'd, and I spoke with him a couple of weeks ago, and I urge people to listen to Nick Iones on Toronto Mic'd. Great episode there. I also want to shout out recyclemyelectronics.ca. That's where you go if you have old electronics, old devices, old laptops, old phones, old cables. Who doesn't have a drawer full of cables that haven't worked since 1999? Don't throw that in the garbage because those chemicals end up in our landfill. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca. Put in your postal code and find out where you can drop that off. And we've already given them much love, but it's worth mentioning that TMLX 18, the 18th Toronto Mike Listener Experience, is going to take place at Great Lakes Brewery on June 26th from 6 to 9 p.m. This is 2025 if you're listening in the future. And Great Lakes will buy you your first pint. So your first beer is on the house. And then Palma Pasta is going to cater the whole thing for free. So drop by, say hi, hang out, and eat, drink, be merry, June 26th from 6 to 9 p.m. Stafford, how do I get you to a TMLX event?
Can I get aircraft from Midtown?
A helicopter?
Yeah, from Waystar Royco.
We'll see if Midtown Gord will drive you there and back.
Sure.
Maybe. So we'll put.
Where are
that
you
out
holding
there.
this one?
Oh, it's at Great Lakes Brewery near Royal York and Queensway. It's 30 Queen Elizabeth Boulevard here in South Etobicoke. So you'd have to do you don't have to do the 110. There's probably a Royal York bus you would take to the station. But we'll see what we can do. It's June 26th, so there's a lot of time to figure it
That's
out.
near St. Remo, isn't it?
It's San Remo's on Royal York. Yeah, it's not far.
Okay.
Same general area for sure.
there's a
Shout out
2
to
for
San
1.
Remo. I was at the 60th anniversary of Canada's flag. I was at a presentation. This is last weekend. It was the Saturday, I guess, because we watched Canada USA that night. Oh, by the way, in a minute, I'm going to ask you about current event stuff. So
Okay.
we're going to hear what Stafford thinks about things. But they had this amazing cake for the 60th birthday of the flag, and it was donated by San Remo Bakery. So
Nice.
much love to that Mimico institution. So, okay, Mike Stafford.
And that guy, that swimming guy is just up the street.
Okay, so yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
No, I'm
Lumsden. Well, that's
doxing
okay.
you.
It's 100 miles away, but Cliff
Yes.
Lumsden is his name.
Yes.
And he was the swimming guy. And Marilyn Bell and him were both trained by the same guy. His name is Gus Ryder.
Yeah.
And there's a pool in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
Gus Ryder Pool, where my kids get swimming lessons, and I sit there and I have to disrobe. I have to get completely nude, Stafford, if you can have that image in your head.
Sure.
Because it is like, and I'll use your Fahrenheit for you. It's
I'll use my tape measure.
It's 110 degrees in there. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's 40 degrees
For a pool?
Celsius. It's like not in the pool.
Oh.
Being in the sitting in the stands,
Right.
watching the swim. I don't know what it is in that water because I never get in there. But geez, it's hot. Okay, so Mike Stafford, we'll do our best to reunite you with Fred Patterson. I'm doing a recap right now.
Yeah.
We're going to. I mean, I'm open to doing what I can to help you podcast, and then we'll see if there's, I don't know, a Patreon or something where everybody puts in
Okay, well,
$10 a month or something.
Can I ask just one quick question?
Ask anything, man.
When people say, you should do a podcast, I say, great, what should I do it on?
They want your take on
what?
what's happening in the world,
On
like
what?
which we're going to do right now.
Gaza? Don't know.
Okay, well, maybe you should know. Like,
Maybe I should know.
or you could talk about. I don't know, because you did a daily radio show for
Yeah.
hours and you figured out what to say there.
It's weird, though. It's a very good point, Mike, is when you're paid to do it, you sure come up with answers quicker.
But what if we tied? Okay, now I'm just going to spitball and then we'll leave this to be noodled or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say you launched a podcast, but before we launched it, we launched a Patreon. It's the Mike Stafford Show Patreon. And Stafford fans, let's pretend we ask for $10 a month, okay? Which might
Right.
sound excessive to you, but this is, of course, we're trying to keep you from living under a bridge, okay? So $10 a month. Now you're kind of co-owner of this show, and you promise to do an hour a week, let's say. An hour
Yeah.
a week, Mike Stafford Show. And then basically we take this Patreon and I don't know, we divide it up, okay? If it's 70-30, whatever we decide.
So who's Patreon?
Patreon is literally a crowdfunding service that exists, which is used by many a podcaster. Think, Jesse Brown at Canada Land has a Patreon.
Fuck him. Sorry, not a fan.
Well, I've never met
Give
the
me
guy.
another name.
He-
Mother Teresa, give me Maggie Gyllenhaal. I love her.
Oh yeah, secretary. Okay. Oh, and you know what I liked, and maybe we talked about this before. The Deuce. Have you ever watched The Deuce, which is from
Loved
the
it.
same guy who made The Wire? Yeah.
Yep.
Maggie Gyllenhaal's
Yep.
on it. She's great. I love the fucking Deuce. Okay, I love the music in The Deuce. Okay, but because I'm not good at math, Mike, let's say we did a 50-50 split. So you had this Patreon, people were pledging, so every month their credit card would get dinged for, let's say, $10 or whatever. Patreon takes whatever they take, 3% or whatever. And then we have whatever's left over, and I'm making up these numbers, but you take half of it, I take half of it. We deliver an hour a week. You may have mobility issues. We might not be able to afford a helicopter. So maybe we literally meet on Zoom for an hour a week and I get you set up with like a $130 Blue Yeti USB mic or something. So you'll sound as good as you can with USB. So maybe this is something we and then that will not only will it mean you'll chat with me for an hour a week, but you'll have to, I don't know, you'll have to think of what do you think of things. It's easy to say, I don't know about Gaza, this and that, but we're about to run through some topics I'm curious about. And I bet you you do have takes on this shit and you could effortlessly do, even if it was 45 minutes a week.
As long as Patreon isn't sponsoring terrorism, that's all I care about.
Right. No, that's all I care about. Fucking right. And they don't, but they do work with Jesse Brown. So you'll have to accept that.
I can let that go. Maybe the three of us can meet with Fred.
Jesus. Oh. Now it's $20 a month. Okay. See, now I like how you're thinking here. By the way, were you friendly with Danny Stover?
Never really met Danny.
Okay, never met Danny. She got caught up in that same wave that took out, I think the one that took out Kelly Catrera and Tina Trajani. And
She was doing 7 o'clock.
was doing something.
It was a weird show. I don't think that was.
But I know her because her
was-
parents know Fred Patterson from a trailer park, and I believe Fred got Danny her radio start at the Wolf when he was the PD over there many moons ago.
Oh, from Freddie's Tiki Bar?
Yeah.
Place?
Like, I think there's a whole... Anyway, I just wondered. But, okay, so she got caught up in that. So, can I play you just a little bit of audio, and then
Love
I want
it.
to know what you thought of it, okay? So, and then we'll talk about this. So, here we go. Actually, we're going to restart that because your producer here has the volume way down. Here we go again. Oh, my goodness, I failed you. We need Heather Purden here.
Oh, Canada, terre de nos arieux, true patriot love that only us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide.
All right, Mike Stafford, that is FOTM, Chantal Kraviajak.
Chantel's been on the show.
She came over last
Nice.
summer, and by the way,
Did Rain come with her?
no, Rain was not there, but we actually hit it off, and we had a great time. And then I witnessed her after the recording, after we took our photo by Toronto Tree. I witnessed, she saw down the street, whatever street this is, she saw a woman postal employee being just verbally assaulted by a road rager who didn't like some maneuver previously, who chased her to the street of mine, and he got out of his car, and I watched Chantal bolt down the street to get between this guy and this woman and to support this woman, and then I was right behind her, of course, but I just loved my chat with Chantal. So that bias aside,
Good
I want to
for
know
her.
what Mike Stafford think. Yeah, she's just a cool chick.
Well, this
me your
happened
thoughts.
right here at the foot of Aaron Mills.
I see what you're doing there. Well
Yeah.
done. All right. This is East York, man.
Yeah, man. I watched this the other night, and you completely...
Thursday night. Yeah,
Thursday.
Yeah.
You pooched the first French line.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's not cool.
that's not cool.
I hate that word. That's problematic.
Pooched?
It's a problematic thing she did. But then when she created her own line that was way too smart for the room, Chantel, it's hockey.
That only us command. That's the line she invented.
Yes, but she was being too clever for the room. If this was a chess tournament, I'm not denigrating hockey. I love hockey. But,
No, but people are dumb. Like that's
people are dumb, and it's very, very emotional right now. Things are weird. That was a weird hockey game to watch. One, because it was such a stupid tournament. I'm sorry, a 4-team round robin. What are the results going to be in the East York Mirror?
right.
Well, the Spiders won over the Snakes.
Yeah, the whole thing was 4 games.
It was, yeah. So the whole tournament, my belief is it was not legitimate, but it came down to where it came down to.
Well, remember, Russia's banned, so
Yeah.
who got left out? Czech Republic, maybe?
Czechia, I felt bad for. I mean, Czechia, and maybe
I forgot about the rebrand.
even Slovakia.
See, but yeah, so now...
And what about the
yeah.
Germans with Dreisel?
Yeah, Draisaitl, yeah. Well, they can have a chance next year in the Olympics. But,
Yes.
okay, so you're right. She owns it because I got a statement from her afterwards. But
no.
she blew the French line. But she wanted the French line in, and she had to get out of French in order to get back to English so she could
She'd
do
already
that
screwed it
only
up.
us command. So, and I mean, I got kids in French immersion. We were watching that live like at many Canadians on Thursday night, and my 8-year-old knew she blew that French line because they say it every damn day in French.
Well, and terre no ça y est, I know no French, and I can sing that.
I'm with you, man. I don't know what I'm saying, but I fucking know.
Terre no ça y est, man.
So she butchers the French, which kind of puts your back up, right?
Yeah.
Then she changes the lyrics to that only us command. So what are your thoughts on this? Because I'll share quickly that I was just kind of glad somebody said something because I feel like we're not hearing much, and I'm dying to know your thoughts on the whole Donald Trump 51st state threatening to annex this country and all this rhetoric we've been hearing for
Well,
months
first,
now.
I did not expect my first strong statement to come from Canada, from a lovely Ukrainian Winnipeg-born woman.
Yeah.
I would expect someone of more, I don't know, power, influence, years. So God bless you,
Yeah,
Chantel.
she did something.
She seized it. She seized the moment, whatever. And good for her for doing that. I think it speaks more to the fact that there weren't, I don't care. Truthfully, I will not lose sleep, but I will ask the question, where the fuck is Wayne Gretzky on this?
I asked Charlie Angus this in the basement a few weeks ago.
I saw that.
Yeah, and it did kind of go viral. Like, it's still being shared like crazy because he was photographed with a Make America Great Again hat.
Yeah.
He was at Mar-a-Lago on election night. He's friendly with Trump. Trump made a joke about Gretzky being governor of this 51st state or something. Gretzky, even when he showed up on Thursday night as the whatever he was, the ambassador or whatever for Canada or whatever.
He looked like a maitre d' at a Toronto restaurant.
The guy, America's guy, threw on a Goudreau jersey, was wearing the red, white, and blue. Canada looked like you said, a maitre d'. There was no Maple Leaf anywhere in sight. No, not even. He never picked up his Order of Canada pin. I haven't heard a word about Gretzky in support of this country that made him.
Yeah. You know, one of my comedian friends on Facebook pointed out that Rosioni is this, this, you know, he never went anywhere in his career. He's got one great bar story for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And he was just, you could tell he was just having a ball.
Right.
And Gretzky's showing up and he looks like, I don't know, Downton Abbey. He's wearing a vest.
Right. It's so where is...
But hasn't Wayne always been like that? Wayne's not the smartest. Come on.
He's kind of boring, but you would think this is a slam dunk no-brainer to make a statement in support of the sovereignty of
but isn't he the mega guy because his daughter's married to a golfer?
I don't know, but I do know, I remember back in the day, he was very vocal in support of Stephen Harper for prime minister. Like, he's always been kind of supporting the conservative politicians. I know that's different than this MAGA
Well, that's
thing.
going to be Walter. One, because I know the Ukrainian community. They're very conservative. So that I would lay on Walter.
Okay.
The rest I would lay on the fact that Wayne Gretzky did not live a life that any of us could ever imagine growing up.
Right.
I had a girlfriend who actually went to school with him. He was at West Humber.
Okay.
And he just kind of sat in class. He wasn't. And did he need to be extremely brilliant? I don't know. But I'm not looking at Wayne Gretzky, as my.
But I just feel his
My
silence
Andrew
is
Coyle.
deafening. His silence is deafening.
What does he need to do, though?
Just say something. Like, just let us know that you actually do not support this rhetoric from your buddy Donald Trump suggesting that Canada be the 51st
Do
state.
people seriously believe it, though? Because one day I can wake up and it's like, oh, people get it. It's just him being him. And then it's like, wait a second. You guys know. Like, he did it the other day he expanded on it on Thursday before the game.
Right, on Truth Social.
Yeah. And the governor will be here.
Right.
The glorious governor.
So you're saying ignore him?
It's kind of hard to do, though, isn't it?
Well, here's the thing. So I'm kind of like you, where I get to this point of like, just ignore this lying bullshit artist who's trying to distract from.
Well, because we've all grown up in families and we've known siblings who did this. And
But Mr. Stafford, he, with one stroke of his pen in March, and because my daughter's birthday is in March, there's a countdown in this home to March. It's coming in less than a week. One stroke of his pen and he can hammer our economy, right, with these tariffs. And he's got two on the go, whatever. He's got the one for the automotive industry, and he's got the blanket.
that's the other thing, Mike. I can't keep track of what the freak he's... Okay, is it steel and aluminum today, or is it... No, is it bamboo? I don't know.
But in your lifetime, can you remember a moment when our sovereignty was this threatened?
Well, that would be a huge no, but I don't know if it's threatened. I mean, are we talking about a mass of troops moving north?
Well, see, you're going to say that's not happening, right? I'm not as confident. I just feel like uneasy about it all because there's this madman, king-like dictator.
Will we fight it like Red Dawn, though?
I feel like but if they did roll the tanks, we have no chance, right?
I'm not getting in the way. Are you getting in the way?
I have a 23-year-old son. They're not getting his blood to grind the gears. Jesus. Okay. But the fact that these conversations are even happening is like wild.
Yeah.
Right. Such bullshit. Okay.
I'm sure he has had 4 years to prepare for these 100 days where he knows I'm just going to fuck with people's heads.
So we'll see what happens when these deadlines arrive for these tariffs that he's threatening here. See, I'm at a point now where America voted for this idiot. They saw what he was. They said, let's have some more of that action. He's true to his word, which is a shitstorm. And like America will fuck shit up, but just leave us alone. Like leave us out of it.
Yeah, there's no reason to involve us. There's no reason to involve us.
Stafford and I will grab our hockey sticks and
do you have a sense that Kamala Harris had a chance? See, I don't think I think she was dead. She was cut off at the knees in July.
Oh, if the bullet, the assassination attempt?
No, it's yours. You're running.
Oh, I see.
He can't do
Biden.
it.
Yeah.
I watched that debate, man, and
so you knew it, okay? Because I'm like Charlie Brown of that fucking football. Because for the second time in recent memory, I was certain there would be a woman president in the United States. Second time, I am totally Charlie Brown on this thing.
Yeah, you keep picking the wrong side, man.
I know. You know what? I got to stop overestimating the intelligence of Americans. No more. From now on, I'm just going to assume that they're as dumb as a rock, and I can't go wrong.
Anyway, it was a great ending to the game, though. Great game. Just the tournament itself was
a little
bring the Olympics.
Manufactured.
Let's see some Olympics, please.
Yeah. Next year. But it had been 9 years since there was a best on best, and when we did it last, there was some under 25 young guns thing where McDavid played for them instead of with Canada and Crosby. So we got to see Crosby and McDavid, and it was fucking grand. And
but we missed too because the fucking owners. Where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money?
I know.
It's not about the money, man.
And that Saturday game, which we lost to the States, the 3 fights in 9 seconds, it's like, oh yeah, this is not the Olympics. And that's like, oh, this is NHL. This is an NHL tournament.
Fucking chucks. There's no way he can keep playing for Ottawa.
Yeah, that's right. So what does he do? Do you trade me to an American team?
Trade me to like deep south, Dallas.
Right. Shout out to the Stars. Okay. What are any thoughts on this? Well, I voted today because the election day is 5 days from now or something like that. But
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, the provincial election, Doug Ford called an early. I have a question for you, Stafford. Doug Ford said he needed a mandate, but doesn't he have a majority government? Doesn't he have a mandate?
Yeah, pretty strong one.
Yeah. So what the fuck?
Been through this. 1991.
Right.
I'm working in the CFRB newsroom. I'm the old guy. I'm 31. I got all these kids working with me. It's election night. Bob Rae and the NDP sweep to power.
Wow.
And I remember all my underlings, because I'm the 31-year-old. I'm the old man. And they're all shaking their fists. Oh, this is great. This is great.
Right.
Mike, I remember the Toronto Star the Saturday before that election saying this is going to be one of the biggest upsets in Ontario political history. David Peterson has screwed them.
Wow.
That people were so pissed off that he called an election that was not needed,
right?
Which is exactly what's going on now. Right. Like nobody bought that bullshit. Well, they need a strong voice. They have one. That's like saying, you know what, Adele, she's not doing it. Can we get, Adele's doing it.
And the other thing that irks me is Doug Ford, there'll be some statement from the Progressive Conservative Party that if elected, we will do this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, you have fucking power right now. Mm-hmm. You have a majority government right now. You don't need to be elected to do this, this, and this. You could have done it any time over the past X years.
Here's what we have planned.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it now.
It's so weird when an incumbent does that. It's like, oh, you have the power. Do it.
Yeah, who runs to the bank and says, here's 15 months of mortgage? No, he's, I don't buy it, and I don't know what's going on federally.
Well, okay, would you have for fun? Marcy Ian was just here, like a couple, I guess she was here like
She Toronto Centre?
Yes, she's Toronto Centre. Is there a rumor floating around that Mark Carney's going to run in that? Have you heard this at all?
I've heard that, yeah. That if
because Marcy, she held those. If she knew that, I looked her in the eye. We talked for over an hour. She held those cards very close to her chest.
Oh yeah.
Talked about being ready for this election.
Oh yeah.
So okay, so I only learned that after the fact, but we'll see what happens there. But I asked her for the. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, take a break.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
That,
go back. Okay,
thanks, man.
That's okay. Yeah. I've done all the sponsor mentions, so now maybe I'm gonna do. I'm sure many a time Mike Stafford's phones went down and he had to vamp here. But I was just saying there that I asked Marcy Ian. I said, Marcy, I said, what will be the score on Thursday night? Because I fucking knew early in the Sweden Canada day. So I was like Stafford. I'm like, this is a manufactured tournament. I'm not sure I'm into it. What do I care? You just invented this four nation thing. Like, what's that about? Then I tuned in to watch Canada versus Sweden because I wanted to see McDavid and Crosby play together. Like, that was the big hook for me. These two guys, the greatest of their generations, let's see them play together. And then very early in that game, we got a power play. And I saw McDavid passed the puck to Crosby. Crosby behind the back. Nate McKinnon scored early, and I realized I would give up all four of my children for this fucking championship. I needed to win this thing, and we did here. But Marcy and I said, what will be the score on Thursday night? And she said it'll be 3-2 for Canada, and she was exactly right. So Stafford, I'm now going to ask you. This could haunt you, but I'll tell the people you didn't bring a crystal ball with you. What happens this provincial election? Any prediction?
I think Ford's going to get another majority. It's going to be reduced. I think 1991 was just a weird time in Ontario, and it's a great time too to like, fuck you, Peterson.
Right.
Give it another 15 months. So I think that'll be reduced. I don't know what's happening in March. Obviously,
well, I was going to ask
Carney's
you,
going to win.
Do you think Mark Carney will win?
Oh yeah.
And what do you think about Pierre Poilievre? I don't think we've ever talked about that.
I have no opinion on Pierre Poilievre. I just have not been invested enough to give a shit. I've heard that he's the Hitler. I've heard that he's Trump light. I've heard he's this, he's that. You're not a fan?
Not a fan. I find him incredibly unlikable, but not a fan. And I worry for, this resistance as Trump won't drop it like a dog with a bad bone in his mouth. I'm worried about a conservative government leading Canada at this time with these threats from the USA.
Given the
and
timing.
I feel like, and I said this to Marcy Ian, I think reading the room and feeling in the zeitgeist, because, I talk to a lot of people and sometimes they're lefties and sometimes they're more conservative. I got Bruce Dobigan here last week. I think he's a big Trumper, if I remember correctly.
Dobigan?
Yeah. He moved to Calgary and got indoctrinated.
Bruce Dobigan.
CBC's Bruce Dobigan, who helped bring down Alan Eagleson, is super right wing. Yeah. That's
surprising. I mean, he actually hosted a show with Fred, I think, at one point.
I think you might be right.
Like CBC,
on CBC, yeah. No, he's
I thought he was a total Kremlin guy.
Opposite.
Front Street.
Big backer of the Conservative Party and Trump and all this, and we'll have a little chat about that. But mainly we're going to talk about Alan Eagleson, actually, but he's dropping by next week. But my feeling was, Mr. Stafford, that the Pierre Poilievre-led Conservative Party were going to easily assume government, and it was going to be a cakewalk. And I saw them easily forming a majority government, and I'd accepted it. Like I was talking about, like it had happened. And I think, and my feeling is that the Trump 51st state rhetoric has made this a race. Mark Carney v. Pierre Poilievre, whenever that happens, sooner rather than later probably, will be a true battle, and possibly one or the other forms a minority government. I don't think anybody scores a majority government out there, and I wouldn't have said that 3 months ago.
No, I think you're
right. Put me on 640. Who's on there?
Who's on right now? Well, Dave Bradley just did his 12th newscast.
So, man, you've been amazing. I got to ask you about another name and then see if there's anything else on your mind. But I'm going to ask you about one more name. But I got to say, it's pretty cool that you got most of the way on your own here. And then we sat down and we got a life update. You're looking pretty good for a guy whose neck was broken, and I know you have a spine. What is the name of your spine?
Ankylosing spondylitis.
See, you know why I can never remember that name, because that's fucking hard.
Yeah, and the spine actually is as well. Yes, it fuses.
Okay, shit. So I know and I know you got some mobility issues there, but the brain is still sharp, and it's exciting to hear that you took 4 months off drinking, because that's, But if you're gonna drink, at least you're drinking Great Lakes beer.
Oh no, absolutely the best.
So it's good to see you and to have a conversation. And I'm sorry about the marriage. Like, shit happens. Most of the people I know.
it's just, we're just, we're working on it right now. Health's what's important, I think.
Well, that's. I really am sorry to hear your Jody is stage 4, and I really hope for the best there. And that's what's important, right? Like, how can you even worry about who gives a fuck about a hockey game and 51st state shit when you're fighting for your life?
Yeah, it's nice at the time just to take your attention away from the other realities of life, but
right. Good escape, the hockey game for sure. Any thoughts on Elon Musk?
I've never liked him. I used to get in arguments with Lou Skeezis because Lou loves him, and Lou actually gave me his biography, and I read about him, and he, weird guy. Never picked up much. Okay, he's got a bit of an Ayn Rand objectivism crap. Doesn't like government much, but now all of a sudden he's running the country south of me.
Yeah,
I've never been a fan of the fanboys, the Elon Musks, the Tesla people,
right?
Who just think he's a genius. He can come up with any idea. Yeah, I know rocket science is hard, and he's done well at it and stuff like that. But I see him on my TV, and I go, "Why are you in the Oval Office? Why is your son on your shoulders as you're wearing that stupid hat, which wasn't even a mega hat?"
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I love the tech guys. I've been a fan of the tech guys for 40 years, reading about their biographies from Gates to Jobs and Wozniak. But Musk gives me a scent that I don't know.
How do you feel when you see in the wild, and I know you're not getting out on long walks or anything, but when you see a Cybertruck, like, how do you feel? Do you care?
I have never seen one.
Oh, you haven't seen one? Okay, because you're not.
I have never seen one in the streets of Toronto. I've certainly seen them everywhere else. What, do you see them here?
Yeah, I've seen a bunch, yeah. But I will say, I bike 30K a day. Yeah. So, but when I see them, I have this reaction where I just want to take a piss on them. Like, I just fucking hate them. And to me, it's like anyone who would get a Cybertruck is just giving a fuck you to any compassionate, empathetic human being.
And from a lot of what I've seen online, people do react that way with paint and stuff. Oh, yeah. I would not want to own one in public.
Right. So how do you now? So Cybertruck's one thing. Like, what about all the people out there, reasonable, compassionate human beings? Humble Howard, I'm thinking of actually, who own a Tesla, not a Cybertruck, but an actual Tesla. Like, is there now sort of, I don't know what the term is, but when you see somebody driving a Tesla, do you assume certain characteristics that maybe are less than flattering?
Yeah, you just assume that they're idiots like the guy who created this thing.
Right.
No, absolutely. I mean, you go back to the Prius, the first electric car. Well, he's got to be an asshole.
Larry David drove one.
Larry David, Ed Begley.
Right.
Got to be an asshole.
Right.
No, they're two of the funniest people I've ever known.
Right.
But as for Tesla, I wouldn't have bought just from reviews and stuff like that. But if you got the money,
you need money too.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't want to close on that dour note. I actually want to wonder any thoughts on, because I've been watching a lot of 50th anniversary coverage, specials, documentaries about Saturday Night Live. Mike Stafford, I would love to close with a little chat about SNL 50. Did you catch any of these?
All of it. Yeah. It's been the past couple of weeks. The documentary Questlove did was amazing. That first 20 minutes, anybody in, screw radio school, TV school, watch the first 20 minutes of Questlove's music documentary, Mike. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you're taking like an F key to a new song, which is an
brilliant.
F key.
It's great. It's great.
Just that, which is probably really easy stuff for people who know what they're doing. So I love the Questlove doc.
And I love that part about, Captain Beefheart, for example.
You shit.
I love that. I love that stuff. I loved all of it, and I don't know.
Well, Fear. I remember seeing that actually, and that was Belushi's bullshit.
Right. So he was a big metalhead, or what was?
Oh yeah, total punk.
Right.
Sinead and she turned out to be right. Yeah, that was a really, really great documentary. And Sunday's show, it was okay. God, it was long.
Yeah, it was. Oh, it went way
3.5.
overtime. It went way overtime, but still, get people coming back. A few noticeable omissions on the return. Dan Aykroyd wasn't there.
Yeah, Dan wasn't there. Bill Hader wasn't there. Apparently, he was doing something.
Prior commitments, and apparently he was at the flu or something and wasn't well enough to be there. But Dana Carvey did not make the trip.
No, which is weird because he's been so involved in this season.
But Mike Myers was there doing
He did Linda Richmond.
Coffee Talk. I thought that was what I was a little. Can I be disappointed? I was happy to see him, but I thought maybe could have been a bit sharper, a little funnier. But
Well, because they put him in with the Bronx Beat girls.
right. Mike Stafford, I want you to seriously noodle this idea where we start a Patreon. I'll help you with that.
All right.
We promoted ahead of time to see how many Stafford heads will be contributing $10 a month to support you and this podcast project. And then once a week via Zoom, if you got an internet connection at your sister's place, you click in, we'll get you a decent USB mic. We chat about whatever. Maybe I'll pick your brain about stuff in the Stafford, whatever. I'm the residential Stafford expert right now.
You do your research.
Right. So just consider this, because I would see what we can do. See what maybe it'll be pop. And if it's not popular, you can just kill the Patreon. Everybody gets their money back, and you can go about being Brian Wilson.
And again, thank you, William, for your kindness and your comments as well. Yes, the Brian Wilson. I don't know. I haven't been Brian Wilson. I'm just damn sad. I don't know if Brian Wilson was sad.
Well, to recap, you got fired with no severance, and it is a previous episode where we go into the gory details, but the P slur on an internal Teams chat sounded like you gave them the gun and said, shoot me, and they said, hey, we don't have to pay severance to this idiot.
Yep.
So there you go. Chorus walks away from that. You're still working on that. So, but that happens. You have simultaneously your wife is battling cancer, stage 4, and you're having relationship problems like so many of us. And I'm telling you, you've got a broken neck. No wonder you're sad. I'm sad now.
Let's not end on a sad note here.
So everybody, stay tuned if there's going to be news about a Mike Stafford podcast.
Yeah.
I'll do what I can here. But Mike, it's great that you made the effort to come here today, and you are getting the lasagna and some beer to take home. Although you're not drinking, but maybe put it away in case.
Bless, I can find a reason. I can find a reason, Michael. And
that brings us to the end of our 1,637th show. Go to torontomike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. Follow me on Blue Sky. I'm at torontomike.com. Much love to all who made this possible. Again, that's Great Lakes Brewery, Palma Pasta, recyclemyelectronics.ca, Building Toronto Skyline, and Ridley Funeral Home. Jeez, I got a lot of fucking episodes next week. I slipped, man. I was trying to do less in 2025. So I mentioned there's going to be a chat about the shelter coming to 6th Street and Lakeshore with Bruce Davis. And then, did you work with Amin Bhatia? Amin Bhatia? No, you didn't, because he's like a 90s guy on CFNY. You're long gone by then. Okay, Amin would do stingers and audio stuff at CFNY, but he also played an instrument, and his piece is part of Michael Jackson's Thriller. Okay, this guy's got a wild story, so I'm going to talk to Amin on Monday, and then Tuesday Jesse Hirsch drops by. Wednesday it's Stu Stone. Thursday it's Socrates, great rapper. Sherry DeNovo on Friday. Good stuff coming up. Subscribe to Toronto Mike. What is my podcast called? Subscribe to Toronto Mike. See you all Monday.